For over 20 years, Chief Akubiro and his wife, Nena, waited and waited. They had wealth, houses, cars, companies, but their mansion was silent. No child's laughter, no little feet running down the hallways. People in the village whispered, "All that money, but no hair? What's the use of riches when your name dies with you?" Nina wept at night, begging the gods for just one child. Chief Akubiro, though heartbroken, stood by her side and refused to remarry. They went to hospitals, native doctors, and even flew abroad. Nothing worked. Until one day, when Nena, already in her late 40s, missed her period. When the doctor confirmed she was pregnant, it was like a dream. Akubiro threw a grand celebration, killing cows and giving out rice and wrappers to the villagers. "My enemies had failed," he declared. But joy turned into tears on the day of delivery. The baby came out, a gorgeous baby girl with glowing skin and eyes that sparkled like diamonds. But her mother, Nena, bled endlessly. The doctors tried, but Nena gave up her final breath after seeing her child. "Akubiro, promise me, take care of her, Chioma, my Chioma." Those were her last words, and just like that, the billionaire gained a daughter and lost the love of his life. Chief Akubiro named her Chioma, meaning good God. He raised her like a princess, maids, caregivers, the best doctors, anything money could buy. But as Chioma grew, something wasn't right. At age 5, she still couldn't say full sentences. At 10, she couldn't read or write. After 15, she still needed help to eat and bathe. Though her body matured into that of a beautiful young woman, gracefully, flawless and enchanting, her mind remained trapped in childhood. She would play with dolls, laugh uncontrollably, and clap her hands like a toddler. The doctors confirmed it. Chioma was mentally challenged. Akubiro never gave up on her. He built her a special room with soft walls, hired therapists from Europe, and created a private school-like environment just for her. But he kept her hidden. No one outside the mansion truly knew her condition. To the world, Chioma was the mysterious billionaire daughter no one ever saw. Meanwhile, in that same village lived a young man, Emeka, brilliant, humble, and full of dreams. He had studied computer science in the city, but after graduating, life turned bitter. No jobs, no connections, and no hope. After struggling for 2 years, he decided to return to his village. "Maybe I will farm, or teach, or just start over in the village," he said to himself. The day he arrived, he heard the news that Chief Akubiro was hiring a new personal driver. With no better option, Emeka applied and got the job. He didn't know that walking into that compound would change his life forever. Emeka noticed something odd in the mansion. There was a section of the house always locked, always guarded. One day, while washing the car near the garden, he heard giggles, like a child's laughter. But when he looked up, he saw a full-grown woman in a flowing gown, staring at him and smiling. She waved at him like an excited child and said, You're fine. You're fine. What's your name?" Emeka was stunned. Why was she speaking like that? Was this the billionaire's daughter? The guards quickly led her away. But from that day on, Chioma never stopped asking about Emeka. She would wait near the window just to see him wash the car. She would ask the cook, "Where is Emeka? Did he go out? When will he come back?" She would say, as she doesn't know how to speak. She began drawing his name on walls with crayons. She insisted he drive her around the compound. At first, Emeka was confused, then concerned. "Sir, I think your daughter, she may like me or something," he once told Chief Akubiro. But the chief simply sighed. "Just be kind to her, please. She has the heart of a child." And you reminded her of someone she once loved, her caregiver, who died months ago. Emeka had always been a hardworking, kind-hearted man, but life in the city hadn't been kind to him. He worked multiple odd jobs, internship, freelance, gigs, anything to get by, but Ujunwa, his girlfriend, was never satisfied. She had dreams of wealth and luxury and status, constantly reminding him of what he couldn't give her. "You are not the man I thought you were, Emeka," she would lament. "You promised me we would have it all, but here I am stuck with a broke man." Her complaints were constant, and she also cheated on Emeka because she was a materialistic woman. Emeka had no idea that she had cheated on him multiple times, and she still loved him, trying to make her happy. And with each passing day, Emeka's desperation to make her happy grew. He needed a steady job, he needed to make money, or she would leave him. It was like a tickling clock. If he didn't meet her demands, she would walk away. So when Emeka returned to the village and got hired as Chief Akubiro's driver, it was a small victory because he pays him very well. But when he confessed to Ujunwa that Chioma, the billionaire's daughter, has started taking an interest in him, he had no idea what would unfold. Emeka sat down with Ujunwa one evening, his heart heavy with worry. "Ujunwa, there is something I needed to tell you. The chief's daughter, Chioma, she's starting to like me, I guess. She smiles at me all the time and even talks to me." Ujunwa raised an eyebrow. She leaned back in her chair, a slight smile creeping across her lips. "Is that so?" she said, a wicked glint in her eyes. "This is good news, Emeka. Very good." Emeka, confused, watched her closely. "I don't understand. How is this a good news?" "It's perfect, Emeka," she said, her voice cold and calculated. "You are going to fake a relationship with her. Marry her if you have to. She's rich, mentally challenged woman, and that fortune will be ours. Think of it, Emeka. You can finally give me everything I have always wanted," she said wickedly. At first, Emeka didn't believe it. Chioma, with her innocence and purity, would never fall for such a plan even if she wanted to. Her father would not allow it. But as Ujunwa continued speaking, her words began to seep into his mind. "But that's wrong. She's a good person. She's pure. Ujunwa, I can't do such a thing to them." "Emeka, do you want to live like this forever?" Ujunwa's voice was sharp now. "You will have money, power, everything we have dreamed of. Chief Akubiro has no heir. He has no son. So, technically, all his wealth will be yours when you marry his daughter. Think of me. You don't want to lose me, do you? If you're really going to be a man, you will do whatever it takes to keep me," she said. Emeka stood there, struggling with the weight of his decision. His heart yearned for a life with Ujunwa, but his conscience was pulling him in another direction. The days that followed were tormenting for Emeka. He would see Chioma sitting by the window, her innocent eyes filled with admiration for him, her love pure, untainted by malice or greed. He would also hear Ujunwa's voice in his head, constantly urging him to do whatever it took to secure a future for them. One evening, as Emeka was driving Chioma to a local event for Chief Akubiro, She spoke to him softly, her voice trembling with excitement. Emeka, I think you are my best friend. You make me feel happy. I have never met someone like you before, she said. Emeka's heart ached. He couldn't help but feel the guilt rising in his chest, even if he did not hear everything she said very well. He can sense everything through her innocence and purity. Ujunwa wasn't one to wait for things to happen. She began setting the stage, planting the seed of her manipulative plan in Emeka's head. She would often test Emeka with reminders like, if you marry Chioma, think of what you will gain. Chief will relinquish all his assets to you. Don't let her fool you with her childish ways. She's not real competition, Emeka. We can even kill her once we get everything we need. This was a line Emeka wasn't prepared for. Ujunwa's words started to get more dangerous, more controlling, and he couldn't shake the feelings that something was about to go horribly wrong. The pressure was mounting. Emeka wanted a better life, but he didn't want to lose his soul in the process. His feelings for Chioma, though complicated, were real. And then there was Ujunwa, who had been with him through thick and thin. But at what cost? Emeka found himself at a crossroad. The more he spent time with Chioma, the more he started to care for her. But at the same time, Ujunwa's greed and manipulation are pushing him towards a dark choice. Will Emeka betray Chioma using her for money and power? Or will he follow his heart, risking everything to stand by innocence? It was a quiet evening in the Akubiro's mansion. The sun had just dipped beneath the hills, casting a golden glow over the estate. Emeka was just returning from the garage when he heard a loud thud echo from the living room. Chief Akubiro had collapsed. Chief! Chief! Emeka rushed to his side, screaming for help as servants panicked. The private doctor was called immediately, but by the time he arrived, Chief Akubiro was barely breathing. His chest rose and fell like the flicker of a dying flame. With a trembling hands, Chief reached out and grabbed Emeka's hand and pulled him close. Take care of Chioma. Protect her with your life. Protect everything that I have built. Then, with his last ounce of strength, he took Chioma's hand and placed it into Emeka's hands. His tired eyes lingered for a second longer, staring at them with smiles on his lips. And then he closed his eyes and he was gone. Chioma let out a wail that pierced the walls of the mansion. Papa! Papa, no! No! Don't go! Don't leave me! She collapsed by his side, clutching his lifeless body, her sobs soaking his white kaftan. Emeka couldn't hold back his own tears either. He was torn. Just hours ago, he had decided to follow Ujunwa's wicked plan. But now, just now, everything had changed. Chioma became a shadow of herself. She refused to eat, drink, or even speak for days. She would sit by the window her father once stood beside and stare into nothingness, lips trembling, eyes hollow. Emeka couldn't leave her side. He remembered the chief's final words. The weight of that promise rested heavily on his shoulder. Slowly, Emeka began to let go of the evil plan and started falling into something else, genuine compassion. He helped Chioma walk again. He fed her with his hands. He read to her, sang to her, cried with her. Little by little, Chioma began to smile again. And when she smiled, Emeka smiled too. After the burial, Emeka sat in Chief's study, The same room where the great man has signed contracts worth billions. Emeka looked around at the legacy Chief had left behind. The company, the workers, the farm, the estate, and Chioma. She was vulnerable, fragile, but also kind, trusting, and pure. So Emeka did what he felt was right. He married her. Not for money, not for Ujunwa, but because of the promise, and because somewhere deep inside him, he now felt something real for her. He took over the business empire with the help of the board. Employees respected him because Chief had publicly called him a son, and he was running things well. Then one morning, Chioma didn't wake up as usual. "Chioma, are you okay?" She clutched her stomach and cried softly. Emeka rushed her to the hospital. After hours of tests, the doctors returned with a smile. "Congratulations, sir. She's pregnant." Emeka's heart nearly burst with joy. "Pregnant? Are you sure?" "Yes, sir. She's healthy, and the baby is also healthy." Emeka couldn't hold back the tears. This was his family now, his wife, his child, his legacy. But will this happiness last? He knew what he had to do. He called Ujunwa one day and asked her to meet him at a private lounge in town. When she arrived, she was dressed to impress, smiling as if ready to reignite their old plans. "So, are we finally ready to strike? Chief is dead. We can go ahead and kill her so that you can inherit everything," she said. But Emeka was quiet. He pushed a bag across the table. She opened it and froze. It was filled with bundle of cash. "What's this?" she asked. "Your share. For the time we wasted together," he said. Voice calm but firm. "Take it and move on with your life." "Wait, Emeka, what do you mean?" Her voice cracked. "I am married now. I have a wife who trusts me, and soon I'll be a father. You and I, we were built on lies. But I am choosing truth now. I knew all you did behind me, all the cheatings. I knew, but I kept quiet," he said to Ujunwa. Ujunwa's smile faded. Her hands trembled. She stood up angrily, but Emeka was already walking away. Emeka was finally at peace, or so he thought. But someone like Ujunwa, she wouldn't disappear quietly. She was used to getting what she wanted. And now that Emeka had wealth, power, and love, could she really walk away? Ujunwa was boiling with rage and envy. "So Emeka thinks he can dump me and walk away with everything I dreamed of, and gave it to that ugly witch he called a wife?" She hissed to herself in her dark room, pacing like a lioness. She had never loved Emeka. What she loved was power, wealth, and status. And now, he had all three. Married to the daughter of a billionaire, controlling an empire, and praised everywhere in the village. People called him Odogu, the new lion of the land. It was too much for Ujunwa to bear. That night, with cold eyes and a colder heart, she made a call. "Get ready. Tomorrow morning, when he is on his way to work, make sure he doesn't reach there alive," she said angrily. The plan was simple. Eliminate Emeka on the road, then go to the mansion, poison Chioma, and disappear with whatever she could take. The next morning, Emeka dressed up sharply in a fine white kaftan. Chioma, now heavily pregnant, buttoned his sleeves and smiled. "Drive safely, my love," she said softly. "I will, Nkem," he replied, kissing her forehead. He stepped into the car and drove off, waving at the gateman as the large black gates closed behind him. Ujunwa, parked in a corner, pulled out her phone. "He's out. Position yourselves immediately," she instructed the thugs on the other end. But just as Emeka reached the main road, something tugged at his memory. "Wait, my briefcase. The documents. Oh, I forgot." He hit the brakes and reversed sharply, turning the car around to head back home. Meanwhile, Ujunwa was already inside the mansion. She had waited until the gate fully closed before slipping in through the side. She knocked gently. Chioma opened the door slowly, her baby bump showing, which filled Ujunwa with rage, but she feigned laughter. "Good morning, can I help you?" "Yes, I am Emeka's cousin," she said calmly. "I told him I was coming, but my phone went off, so I couldn't reach him. So I had to come with the direction he sent me," she told her. Ujunwa smiled sweetly. Chioma, always polite and trusting, let her in. "Oh, okay, come in, please sit down." Chioma offered her a drink, and Ujunwa pretended to sip it. Then, when Chioma excused herself to take a call from Emeka's assistant, Ujunwa quickly pulled out a small vial of clear liquid poison and poured it into Chioma's cup. Chioma returned minutes later after answering the call, giggling softly from her call. She picked up her cup but didn't drink. "Drink now. It will help you relax," Ujunwa said, her voice now a bit shaky. "Later, I will drink it later," Chioma smiled, placing it back on the table. "No, I mean, you should take it now," Ujunwa insisted, her tone sharper now. Chioma narrowed her eyes. "Why are you forcing me to drink? Who do you say you were again?" Ujunwa's smile cracked. Chioma stood slowly. "You are not Emeka's cousin. You are lying." Ujunwa's face twisted. She leaped at Chioma immediately, trying to force the poison cup into her mouth. "Drink it!" Chioma screamed. Just then, the door burst open. "Chioma!" Emeka roared as he ran in and saw the struggle. He dashed across the room and tackled Ujunwa, throwing her across the table. The cup shattered on the floor. Chioma fell to the floor sobbing. Ujunwa tried to get up and fight back, but in her rush, she slipped. Her head slammed against the sharp edge of the wooden chair handle. She collapsed, motionless. The sound of tires screeching filled the compound. The police, alerted by neighbors who heard Chioma scream, rushed in. Emeka stood, breathing heavily, Chioma clinging to him. She tried to kill my wife," Emeka gasped, pointing at Ujunwa's lifeless body. Officers quickly checked her pulse. She was gone. The lead officer turned to Emeka. "We will take her body. You did the right thing calling us." They placed Ujunwa's body in a stretcher and carried her away. As the ambulance drove off, Emeka sank to the floor, completely drained. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. Chioma dropped beside him and wrapped her arms around him tightly. "I thought I lost you," she whispered. "I am so sorry," he cried, pulling her close. "I brought this danger into our home. I should have told you everything. I should have protected you better." "You did," Chioma said softly. "You came back. That's all that matters." She laid her head on his chest, and for the first time in a long while they wept together. Not out of sorrow alone, but because they knew they had survived something much darker than death.